What's up, guys? We are back for another Masters of the Universe Club Grayskull figure from Super 7. Today we're taking a look at what is probably my most anticipated figure from this particular wave. We have got the very goofy, very Filmation-y Mantenna figure. We've got him here in our standard brown mailer. You've got the He-Man logo there on the front. Inside this guy, we of course, as usual, have got the Grayskull Jawbridge slipcover, and then underneath that you can see this goofy looking guy in all of his glory through that big window. Great packaging, very good collector-friendly design as usual. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Filmation Mantenna figure. And I gotta say right off the bat, I'm pretty over the moon with this guy in general. He is among my favorite characters from the She-Ra cartoon, from Princess of Power. I just love everything about his design, his goofy voice, everything about him really. I just like him. So I'm kind of biased going into this, but I think we've got a pretty solid action figure here too. And yeah, we're just going to jump right into it. Take a look at Articulation because he's got some interesting stuff going on. He's got some limitations here and there just based on design choices, but we've also got some difference in Articulation as well. So we'll start at the head. And you can look up and you can look down, you can bobble side to side and rotate because we got a ball peg. The neck is articulated though as well. You can actually swivel that neck so you can twist it all the way around. Arms go out, they rotate. No bicep swivels on this guy. We've got rotation and hinge at the elbow, rotation and hinge at the wrist. No crunch. We have got a waist twist, which is kind of the norm for figures who have a full chest of armor in this line. You know, think of Hordak, for example. He doesn't have a crunch either because he's got a full chest that they don't want to break up the sculpt on. Legs go out. They kick forward. You can twist up in there at the thigh. We've got single hinged knees, but they rotate because he doesn't have a boot cut. We've got hinges and rocker down at the ankle. All of the legs seem to be the same. Outside of design, they are the same in terms of articulation. So the back ones will kick back and kick forward and out, rotate and all that. And even the loincloth will move with that leg. So you do have a lot of range of motion with this guy. He just has, you know, the lack of the bicep swivel, the lack of a crunch, but he does have extra articulation from the norm at the head. And then he's got pretty solid leg articulation as well. I've had zero problems getting him to stand, you know, flat-footed with all 4 feet. As far as the look and feel on this guy, though, that's where they got it for me. They've absolutely nailed the sculpt on this guy. The Four Horsemen have done just a tremendous job bringing this guy to figure form. I think he looks fantastic. I really don't have anything to complain about on this one. We do still have shiny plastic, but like I kind of mentioned in the She-Ra review, it doesn't really bother me on characters that aren't human. So Mantenna is obviously not a human. He doesn't have normal, you know, flesh tones for a human. So he looks fine to me this way. It doesn't bother me nearly as much. You can see it. It's there. It's obvious. But I don't think it's a big deal. We have some interesting stuff going on the legs too. We've actually got paint shading on this guy. And in general, I think they've just nailed the color scheme. And what paint we do have, of course, in that Filmation style kind of gives him a cartoony matte finish almost. So you've got, you know, your blue skin that runs down the arms and down the legs. And the legs, all 4 of them have shading on them. So it's kind of slight on the thighs and around the knees on the front legs and then on the back legs as well. And you've got the little fur that pops off the back. So they are obviously not the same sculpt. We've got boots on the front feet as well down here. So we've got 2 sets of unique legs, I guess is the way to say it, which look really great. I like the fact that we have that shading. I was really surprised to see that. I like the Horde emblem on his chest. His collar looks really great. And then you've got the head, which is obviously the guy's main thing outside of the 4 legs, obviously. But when I think of Mantenna, I always think of that big red head with the humongous ears and then, of course, the eyes because they're just so expressive when it comes to this particular character. And I think they absolutely nailed it. That matte yellow finish really does it in his pupils. He just looks like he's just staring off into the distance, but it absolutely captures the look of this particular character. And then of course they gave us some accessories to accentuate that feature as well. So if it comes down to figures in this particular wave that I'm just head over heels about, their overall design and their look, it's gonna be Mantenna for sure. But I think we've got a stellar action figure to begin with from a design perspective, from colors to just the overall look of this guy. I mean, I think they absolutely nailed it. This is Mantenna from the cartoon brought to life. Now we do of course have some accessories to talk about with this guy, one of which is absolutely the main accessory for me personally, and that of course would be the head. So we've got a swappable head for Mantenna here, and it just pops on and off on that ball peg. No problems removing the head on this guy. Very, very simple. But obviously you can tell what's different here. So we've got a very similar head sculpt in terms of size and structure, but we've got the bugged out eyes going on here, which I absolutely love. One of my favorite qualities for this particular character. I think they did a really good job. I'm glad that they gave us a second head rather than swappable eyes. I think it works really, really well. Just watch out when you're kind of moving it because they are slightly flexible. The eye stems, I suppose you could call them. So you might kind of bend them a little bit. You can just push them back, but just something to keep in mind. And then another difference is that we've got a screaming head. So, you can make him look like he is, being the wuss that he is as he runs away in fear. And then we have got a blaster rifle for him, and this is another Filmation-y style gun. It is a painted weapon, so it does have kind of that matte chalky feel to it. Watch out, you might rub some paint off on that guy. I have not done it yet, but it's something that I tend to do a lot with Filmation accessories, so your mileage may vary on that one. And then we do have an extra set of hands, so it's kind of odd. We have a tremendous number of accessories with this figure for this particular line. So you've got a set of swappable hands. His initial hands are ones that can hold the blaster really well, and then these are more open but kind of gripping hands. I'm kind of taking them to mean that they're the ones if you want to pose him running away, it'd be like he have his hands up in the air as he runs away from She-Ra or something. So you've got some options with this guy, and I think all of them are executed pretty well. Of course, we have to compare our figures, and there's not much to compare here, really, I wouldn't say. We've got our Filmation figure on the left, our MOTU Classics figure on the right, and they're obviously the same character, but they're so different that it's not even really worth comparing from a best to a better to a worse type of situation, because frankly, I love the MOTU Classics Mantenna figure. He's easily top tier of the MOTU Classics game for sure. Just the design on this guy is absolutely killer, and everything about him is just gruesome and very Horde-ish. This guy, though, does a special thing for me personally, just because, like I said, Filmation is always my MOTU, so seeing this guy in plastic really does something for me on a personal level, but I think they very much work well together. They occupy two different spaces in the same collection, so to speak. So you've got very, very good options to have both sides of the same coin now with our Filmation and our classics, but of course they couldn't be too much further apart. They just happen to be the same character. So overall, I'd say we have a winner on our hands here, and for my money, this is the best figure in the wave. Of course, I'm biased because, I like the character more than the others, but this figure is objectively pretty solid. I really don't have any complaints here. Paintwork is nice, sculpt work is nice, articulation is slightly different and maybe dumbed down to a degree in some ways, but they kind of beefed him up in others, which frankly, I'm fine with. I think he works really well. You can get him into some nice poses, and he very much is incredibly sturdy and very easy to pose, even with 4 legs to contend with. So I think Super7's done a really solid job here. The Horsemen have knocked it out of the park with this particular look, and the sculpt is just fantastic. So for my money, this is the one to get, no doubt about it. If you're even remotely interested in this guy, I'd snatch him up now rather than later. So that's going to do it for this look at the Super7 Masters of the Universe Club Grayskull Mantenna figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.